It's time to go with the next speaker, Dragan Stiglic, who is a creative director and have a large experience with such kind of immersive technology. He is innovator with futurist thinking. Okay, go ahead, Dragan. We are happy to have you here in this conference.
Thank you so much, Konstantin. It's my pleasure.
Okay. Okay, you're ready?
Yes, that's okay.
All right. So today I'll be talking a little bit about generally what's extended reality, what it can be, but we'll also add a few more really nice things and give away goodies about the ideas that you can do, which I hope are, to my best knowledge, something that's not seen before. So I'll just first go over to tell you a few things about myself very quickly. So I was doing animation visual effects in 3 countries, establishing the markets, did tons of commercials, participating in previous 4 movies, doing games, and got my first virtual studio technology in 1993. So this was the first time where you are able to bring together real people on chroma key green and CG. And then through several other inventions, I believe I was following VR and AR through very early 2000 years of very early years in 2000. And today I have a few more things to share that I hope everybody would like to see. So let's move on. So the experience I have comes from film, television, games, training and marketing. And it's always the same thing. You need to please and engage the user. You have to tell the story. You have to explain what you need to explain, and you have to provide impact and engagement. And what's cool is that during these years, I was not exactly in the mainstream, and that's really good because you can do crazy ideas, which in big companies would be very hard or impossible. And the idea is to create any technology, any story on any budget. So how far you can extend the reality? What it is in the first place. So what it means merging at least 2 realities together. So the result should always be really more for the user than just sum of 2. So it should be more than virtual reality. It should be more than just putting advertising information on top of something real. So the ultimate goal, if we would ask for our goals in high tech, should be to just bring people together. And also when we are combining realities, whether it's 2 realities, whether it's one thing real, one thing CG. So when you bring these 2, it means that you are bringing the best of them and bringing the best from 2 parallel universes. So today, it's really tough for all technologies, including ours. And we had a hard time before the crisis to have this easy adoption because hardware is expensive, not available because people are resisting to it. Then we're still not there to assist people solving practical problems. And there's a big potential in solving day-to-day communications. Like I had pleasure to see the previous presentation, which is one of the really amazing ways to help people communicate. And most important, in AR, VR, and XR, we are still developing new language and new modes of usability. How to make this whole technology come to a real use. So the main thing is really to go out of the box, to kind of go wild. So I'll be sharing today because, so Jean-Michel, so we had talks about what am I going to talk today. So I was asked to put some ideas forward, and what is this that other people can take away as good things about what to do in XR. So we are coming with few just ideas that some of them are really novel and some of them definitely patented, but we are really open to work with companies and help put these ideas to work because they are valuable. So we tried some of the things, and first idea I would share today with you is a bit weird. It's called reversed AR. Reversed AR can be, of course, used in augmented reality, can be used in XR, can be used in ordinary TV sets. The main goal when we did it the first time was eventually to develop a monitoring system for digital printing machine. So as you can see, the concept contains in the core of the concept is reversing the role where essentially what is in the background is animated in CG, and what is in the foreground is a real world video window. So when you see this in movement, it becomes even more apparent. Let me just see, where do I? Okay, so here is the idea. So essentially you have animated representation of specific device or a machine and interacting with it, whether in VR, whether on the screen or using glasses, you are recalling a window into reality. So practically it is like reversed AR and can have applications in IoT monitoring systems, in entertainment, in industry 4.0. So this is the core idea, is to go wild and just simply reverse the roles. So where you had before always you would superimpose CG over real things, here you can do essentially the opposite thing. So back to the next stage, what is a second cool idea is what is also essentially taking things upside down is reversing the virtual studio. So virtual studio technology, I mean, everybody knows, and this, we came with the first concept back in 90s, is to have actor against chroma key green in very big, expensive studio. And essentially synchronizing two cameras, you can put actor on chroma key green inside the CG environment. So it was very expensive. So you had to have a motion captured camera, you have to have very big studio, you have to have chroma key green lighting. So the idea here is to make this virtual studio concept more democratic by taking it upside down. So meaning you are having a person which can be anywhere, simply extracting the presenter or a salesman or a teacher from the background and planting it inside another reality. Another reality can be 3D video recording, can be 3D CG. It can be anything. So the essentially idea is, again, tumbling things up and down, where primary thing is putting the real world on top of the other one. So here, I will show you also an example on a video. All right, so a person can be literally anywhere. In this case, it's an office, it can be home. And using a cutout technology, you can place a person inside a 3D. The idea is here to use combination of two worlds where inside 3D, you can bring in simply live people. I do believe it's very valuable, and it can be existing side to side with avatars. In many cases, you would want to have demonstration of products, trainings, explanations, teaching. So imagine you can have, you can be a teacher and you can open up any kind of 3D exhibit or any kind of 3D model and explain, pointing at it and eventually being there. So by having a 3D, you can still have this human communication going on, and you don't lose contact with the person. So let's continue with the PowerPoint. So that was number 2. Number 3 is simple idea to extend extended reality to previous media, to something that we already have. So if sometimes it is an obstacle for people to adapt new technology, we can try delivering new content, which in this case can be extended reality, across existing platforms. So I personally, we used in small company that we work together, it's called Scribble. We were using many times really nice big TV sets where people would gather in front of a TV screen in order to exchange ideas and to have presentations using augmented or extended reality, where you combine a few things together in order to show things. So one small concept that's pretty old now, we dubbed ROTATRAY. What means ROTATRAY? Means practically you would take any kind of three-dimensional object, you would hold it in your hand, and as computer will track the movement of your tray, it will display the object in 3 dimensions on top of it. So it's a very quick fix and really nice way to generate the content where you have something very tactile, so you're using physical object and rotating it, you're changing view for both you and everybody in front of the screen. So I will put up soon the video. All right. So here, so this was, for example, a presentation for XJet where machines were placed on in digital world. So essentially you can see it from any angle and you can zoom into it. So your presentation becomes almost physical, and coming inside a specific machine or a device, you can explain things that otherwise people can't see. Exciting thing is very intuitive way to which you can interact with the things. So that's the third goodie for today, and we're gonna maybe do something more later online. So what we had this as some kind of summary for advice is what you should to overcome all the problems that usually we have right now is to bring more people to see what extended reality is using television screen. So still making it interactive, not just only showing the videos. Then to use VR, AR glasses on content creation side, and to think of small and cheap tools, just like this tray, which are essentially human-computer interface, to assist people just feel better when interacting with 3D. So what is the real road to do this is to have content creation where things are being generated using all of these tools. So they not necessarily everything has to be on consumer side. And the idea is to deliver to any possible screen. And as soon as VR helmets and AR glasses come into the mainstream, people should already be using these tools and be familiar through them by simply having some of these applications available on their desktops, on television screens. So we have to make this dissolve into spatial computing using some of the 2D tools that we have today. In Scribo, in small crew that we're having, we have experience in visual effects, video games, content, and also service training and education. And we're delivering these simple and small commercial applications for companies. So it can be done for product and sales presentation, visual guidances for service, and education and training, as well as new forms of entertainment. So this is somehow concluding approximately 20 minutes. I plan to have a straightforward linear presentation. More about Scribo you can simply read by reading at scribo.co.il. So we have a small crew which is dealing with these novel ideas about how to present technical and non-technical content. We're looking for partners, and we're in contact with companies to push some of these ideas forward. So we have at the moment 2 patents that I'm very ready to speak about taking into many different directions. My email is dragan@cosmogon.com. And just like Nicholas said with the right words, we have to really work together and be careful not to, leave everything to the big companies. So we have ideas that definitely, I would like many small companies to use and to put to work. Essentially, it will be a time to see if there's any more questions or discussions, and I would like to hear your impressions about these things. So some of these inventions were applied very long ago, and it really takes time. As I don't want to discourage people to put forward the ideas to patent, but it takes a lot of time to put it together, to defend it, to have it granted. So right now I'm ready to hear what you have to say about it. So Konstantin, what's your first impressions?
Thank you, Dragan. Awesome. I like your approach. I have a question. Well, we certainly will have more free discussion this evening in Cinespace.
Right.
On Zoom, we are a bit limited.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is about, I am actually, before going to the virtual and augmented reality, I am still a big fan of 3D movies and 3D video.
Right.
And I remember the good time about 2012. That was a very huge excitement about the 3D movie. I had 3D television home.
Yes.
But then after this kind of tendency died, and now nobody talked about. And my idea about is that actually content creation in 3D is much more difficult and much more expensive. It's not twice expensive, but it's
Right.
probably 1.5 times more expensive than in 2D.
You're
And
right.
My question is about, what do you think? Is it the same in the virtual and augmented reality? I mean, is it the bottleneck of all the stuff finally the content creation?
Right. You answered the question about why 3D became less important for producers of TV set, because simply making content is not that easy. Problems that were there in the industry and were overlooked were really fundamental. And so first, it was really fundamental problem is about human eye-brain vision. How do we really see depth? So right now, although we have modern technologies, we're still using the same concept. Left view comes to the left eye, right view comes to the right eye. It's essentially 100-year-old concept, but now put to life with new technologies. But the real secret behind it is really much more deeper. So because we didn't went into fundamental exploration, how to make depth better, we were just going into technology and producing things using what we have available. So although 3D can be amazing, still for the brain, it takes some effort to simply be there. And as long as there is this subliminal obstacle that your own brain tells you, hey, I don't feel good here for, I would like to get out. So until this unpleasant feeling persists, 3D would be, related to short burst entertainment, even usability direction, sessions that are in training and services using full-scale 3D. You would have to have much better solutions. So this is where we are still, we have a big task ahead of us. And the second is the content. Doing things that are really good in 3D. You probably had on your TV set some major releases like Avatar, that's really incredible piece of stereoscopic 3D, very representative. But then there's plenty of many other content pieces that are not full scale there. And then it's really essential thing that you need to do it efficient. Question is, of course, the impact and what do you invest in such a thing. So I think in future that displays will be shining again, that somewhere down the road we will solve these problems. And new wave of glasses, new wave of hardware will help us really believe that what we're looking is a great depth, and without having our brain having to have great efforts to digest these visuals.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Actually, it is what now that the brain is doing a lot of computing. It's not just disparity between left and right eye, but because this kind of signal is for about probably 5 meters, not more. But the brain is but the brain can compute the pose very precisely just by having information about what is the object. For example, human, which is bigger than a tree, will be posed closely, and the brain do this very precisely. And one of the problems actually in the 3D industry in the past was that the creators was not skilled and they was not able to make a scene which is correct from the brain point of view, which bring out the 3D effect. And I agree with you that in the future we will have probably kind of education of the creators in this direction, so there will be much high quality of 3D movies. But my point is that content itself was a problem, and also in 3D, in virtual reality. I mean, it's expensive to produce content. It's expensive to produce an avatar. It's expensive to produce. There was a very nice talk this morning for digital twins. It's all this stuff is very expensive.
Right.
And when you are going to make, for example, advertisement campaign, it's already very expensive. But if you add the cost of this new technology, companies say, okay, we can do very well on the old technology. You don't need to pay additional, let's say, 30% more cost for developing VR or AR content.
Yeah, there's big point in what you're saying, and main thing is still today for us to find a path, because our past is very cinematic. So you have a linear story where everything is predefined, and you have now new realities which are 3D, which are basically interactive. You can be anywhere, you can look at things from any side. So that's immersive side. Between cinematic to immersive, you have to find a ways to generate the new values without spending twice the budget for merging two worlds. So still for a while it will still be going on. We would have to experiment with this and have much more time to play with it. We have to remember that the biggest discovery in cinema that was a film cut was discovered by a mistake, because imagine there was no obstacle for any cinematographer to make a cut. You stop camera and you turn it around, or a few minutes later, and then you continue. Nobody thought of it. So for the 2-3 years, it's really incredible. Think, people were recording movies in continuous way. Nobody thought that they can discontinue time. Nobody thought that they have this power. So it happened by mistake. It was a French cinematographer was making a recording. It was winter day. Carriage was entering the square in Paris, and the camera get jammed. Minutes later, he repaired the camera, he warmed it up, and he continued rolling. A month later, when he developed the film and put it on projection, he saw the carriage coming into the square, and then puff, carriage disappeared. It was like a magic. And then the first artist to take this forward was Georges Méliès, who produced incredible things by using discontinuity of time. And that's how the movies were born, right? So something like this and more exciting, we have to expect having across, all extended reality media.
Amazing. That's really, really amazing stories. Okay, thank you. Thank you again, Dragan.
Thank you, Konstantin. It was a pleasure.